The South African Communist Party says the Fleurhof evictions are a brutalisation of the working class and poor. On Wednesday, the Red Ants and the Johannesburg Metropolitan Police Department carried out the evictions in the west of Johannesburg. The SACP says there's housing challenges in the city and in the province at large. Sekete Moshoeshoe is joining us now just to give us a little bit more sense of what the SACP in Gauteng believes can be done. Sekete Moshoeshoe, good morning and thank you very much for your time. I've seen your statement where you're condemning these evictions, but you also say you don't support illegal land invasion. You strongly condemn that as well. But you say you believe the housing challenge in your statement here as a SACP in Gauteng can be resolved through what you are calling innovative thinking rather than brutal force. What would that look like? What would that innovative thinking, according to the SACP, look like?
Good morning to you, to the presenters and viewers of ENCA. As the SACP, we necessarily apportioning blame to the city of Johannesburg for having failed to look at, ways and means that would have resolved the problem much more better than it is the case. Squarely, our innovative measures would mean there are processes and procedures adopted by council. You would have the Speaker's office has a ward councillor who is responsible for the area, who could have, organized stakeholders and had discussions with them to clarify the process. Because certainly, the houses that were going to be allocated on the 8th were houses which are necessarily occupied illegally. So they should have started with the process of removing swiftly those that have illegally occupied the units, and then ensure that those that have been on the waiting list since 2016. And some of them are elderly people who are still waiting and they haven't been given the so-called happy letters. So, they created an unnecessary expectation. So now we are told that the city asked people with happy letters to come and receive, their units or allocations allocated to them. And apparently this did not happen. And a meeting was just, postponed abruptly with no or without any explanation.
So in your view, as the SACP, in your statement you said there is a need to find long-lasting solutions. What is a long-lasting solution? The housing challenge has been with the country for decades now, and it does not seem that it's being resolved now. What would a long-lasting solution be?
Yeah, remember, Braden, that here in Gauteng, there have been, a number of mega housing projects which were pronounced through, the state of the province. And subsequent to that, there were IDP processes, and there is budget which has been allocated, which will roll over possibly a period of 4 to 5 years or 10 years or so. However, what we seem to get from the city of Johannesburg, my focus is squarely on COJ on the basis that there seems to be lack of leadership and accountability, including oversight. Because if you interview the residents or the so-called beneficiaries, they will tell you that they are doing it on their own as locals. They are necessarily leaderless. So the long-lasting solution would be that, isn't it that we do our own due diligence in terms of the demographics, the needs for each area, So those have been covered by now. What we need to see is the implementation of all the promises, which were made by government, particularly in this instance, referring to the COJ. So a long-lasting solution would be an inclusive approach where all stakeholders are involved, which government provides through legislation.
Okay, thank you very much, Sekete Moshoeshoe from the SACP, pronouncing there about what has been happening west of Johannesburg this week with red ants evicting people who were allegedly illegally occupying property.